Hello and welcome back to another video. The Aral Sea. It was the fourth largest lake in the world, situated between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. In 1960, its size was 61,000 square kilometers, easily comparable to countries like Panama and, most impressively, Ireland. A very big lake indeed. It had been one of the most important water sources for a very, very long time, and 1/6 of the Soviet Union's fishing industry came from this one lake. But as we know, the human species can damage ecosystems badly, and unfortunately, the Aral Sea was one of them. Compare the 1960 shot of the Aral Sea to this picture taken fairly recently in July of 2020. Almost the entire lake is destroyed, dry, and barren. What happened to it? To understand the situation, we have to go back to the rule of Stalin, when he was the leader of the Soviet Union. He thought of making the USSR not only a superpower in its military, but also in its economy. So, the Aral Sea used to have two rivers that fed it, the Amudarya and the Sirdarya, reaching it from the south and north respectively. Stalin and his government planned to make canals directing the water to new fields inside modern-day Uzbekistan that would start to make cotton. The cotton was planned to become a major export of the Soviet Union. They never really thought of what would happen to the Aral Sea and the fishermen around it. After Stalin died in 1953, he was succeeded by Nikita Khrushchev, famous of starting de-Stalinization and denouncing him and his crimes. However, Khrushchev supported Stalin's plans on making cotton a massive Soviet export, and so continued it. Sure, it did work, and Uzbekistan became the largest producer of cotton in 1988, but it had very serious effects on the water around it. The canals the Soviets finished under Khrushchev were not only taking away water from the Aral Sea, but they were built so poorly that large amounts of the water leaked and spilled. Obviously, this caused the lake to shrink drastically, losing 50% of its original size by the early 2000s and going down to 25% of its original size by 2004. Nowadays, the Aral Sea is just 6,000 square kilometers in area, a tenth of what it used to be. If that didn't give the fishermen around the region a hard enough time, the lake also became far too salty, 5 times saltier than it was in 1960. How? Well, as the sea level lowered, the inflow of salts to the sea exceeded the salt discharge. In 1970, the lake's waters were already 15% saltier than they were in 1960. This killed off many local fish. Aralsk, a port town that depended on fishing to survive, was now tens of miles away from the Aral Sea. This would be the end of the video, if it wasn't for the aggressive dumping of toxic and dangerous materials. Not only that, but during the Cold War, many bomb tests were conducted by the USSR, and unfortunately, they were pretty near to the Aral Sea. Since the Aral Sea is now mostly dry and barren, all those chemicals are now picked up by occasional storms and ravage nearby areas. For the people who live very close to the Aral Sea, life is harsh. Infant mortality rates are approximately 75 deaths per 1,000 births. Worst of all, the toxic chemical storms are slowing down the Uzbekistan cotton production. In recent times, the lake was split in half so Kazakhstan could control and revive the northern half, now nicknamed the Northern Aral Sea. They did get some success, and the water levels, salinity levels, and most importantly, the fish diversity inside it slowly became better. However, until all the former Aral Sea is restored, it remains one of the worst man-made ecological disasters in recent history. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. It's free and it helps out a ton. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.